Welcome back to the Ed Show. Republicans have had control of the Congress for 5 weeks now. So far, they have accomplished very little, as I see it. House Speaker John Boehner is already playing the blame game with the Homeland Security bill.
Why don't you go ask the Senate Democrats when they're going to get off their ass and do something other than to vote no?
But, I mean, your party controls the chamber there, so...
The House has done its job.
This is the kind of coordination you envision between you and McConnell and the Senate Republicans?
Listen, the issue here is not Senate Republicans. The issue here is Senate Democrats. Seven of whom criticized the president's executive overreach on immigration, and yet they continue to block consideration of the bill.
McConnell says it's up to you.
I love Mitch. He has a tough job to do, and so do I.
But he's just not getting anything done. Joining me tonight on our rapid response panel, we've got Heidi Harris, who is the host of the Heidi Harris Show. Also with us tonight, radio talk show host Lou Desmond. Great to have both of you with us. Heidi, what's happening? Where's the health care bill? We've heard the Republicans and the conservatives take apart Obamacare, but they got no game. How come there's nothing on the table?
You know what? I'm going to say something that might surprise you, Ed. I have predicted for a long time that nothing's going to happen with Obamacare repeal, and I'm going to tell you why. It's purposely complicated like the IRS, like the tax code. And the reason for that is they're already talking about making specific allowances for people who manufacture particular medical instruments and those kinds of things. So it's becoming like the tax code. We're not going to really repeal it, wink, wink, but we're going to give you all kinds of benefits. And the Republicans, I do not believe, are going to repeal Obamacare. They have a chance. I don't think they're going to do it. I wish they were, but they're not going to.
Why have they focused the country on making us believe that they've got something better when they really don't?
Well, you know, the problem is they like to talk a good game, and both sides do this all the time. They make promises, but when it comes down to it, they're, I guess, better served by leaving it the way it is, because the argument is if you try to repeal it now, it's going to be too expensive and too complicated. So I don't agree with that, of course. Yeah. I want complete repeal, but I don't see them having the will to do it, and it's very disappointing to me, got to tell you.
Well, on this subject, the Democrats promised to pass health care, and they did, and millions of Americans are being covered because of it, and rates are coming down, and more people are covered, and we're getting better outcomes. But they've been ripping apart Obamacare, but they've got nothing on the table. Lou, is it too much to expect that maybe we would see them follow up on what they've been complaining about?
Well, Ed, I can only speak from my experience, and as a small business owner, as a person who runs his own business, my health care has been terribly affected. We're on our third or fourth policy, still trying to find it. People like me that self-insure have been nothing but hurt by Obamacare. I'd like to see the whole thing repealed, but of course, we only have one piece of the government apparatus.
How have you been hurt?
Because I used to have insurance that I liked. We had the doctor's group that my wife and the kids were born to and that had always been gone to, and we have not been able to go back to that same doctor's group because they keep dropping the insurances that we get because the government keeps cutting the reimbursements. So I did not get to keep my doctor. I did not get to keep my plan. That was a lie to people like me who have to self-insure.
Mm-hmm. Well, but you're not being denied. That's the big thing. You just have to pay a little bit more. That's all. I mean, nobody in America is, and if one of your kids gets sick, you're still going to get insured. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, if we look at the previous year's health care, we've seen double-digit increases. So where's the hurt? I mean, it's not going to be a perfect world. You can still get insurance.
Ed, it was called the Affordable Care Act, and I was promised, and millions of other people were promised, that we could keep our doctor and we could keep our plan. That simply wasn't true for a large population sector that has to self-insure.
So you're in favor of the junk insurance that was out there, because there are now standards in the industry that have wiped out a lot of policies that didn't do consumers any good.
Ed, call it junk insurance if you want. I had insurance that I was happy with.
Okay.
Now
all right,
I
fair
don't.
enough. Fair enough. But the fact is that we have federal standards, just like we have standards on a lot of things in this country. I want to play a clip from John Boehner earlier today talking about Keystone. Here's one thing that they have done. Here it is.
Yesterday, the House acted in a bipartisan way to approve the Keystone Pipeline. This will create tens of thousands of jobs, or at least 42,000, according to the president's own State Department. More than 20 of our nation's governors this morning sent a letter to the White House asking the president to consider signing this important bill. There is no good reason, none whatsoever, for the president to veto this jobs bill.
Well, I can certainly think of about a dozen right off the top of my head. Heidi, why do the Republicans get so excited about part-time jobs when they don't want to give the president any credit for helping create 11 million over the last 6 years?
Listen, anything that's going to benefit us in any way and help our partnership with Canada and help us to become more energy independent interests me. And I'm telling you something, Ed, maybe I sound paranoid here, but I find it fascinating that every time we start really talking about energy independence, suddenly, miraculously, the price of gas gets very affordable. And I do believe that it's done on purpose so that we've dropped the Keystone, go back to being more energy dependent on OPEC, and then it's going to go right back up to $4 or $5 a gallon. So we can't get complacent.
But they have tried to sell Keystone as a jobs bill. At the end of the day, it's going to be 35 permanent jobs. Even the head of TransCanada has said that it's not going to be a big jobs bill. He even threw the number out there, 42,000, give or take 5 or 10 either way. They're part-time. These are not sustainable jobs, yet the Republicans are selling it to the American people as a jobs package.
But it's the same thing, Ed, with people who want to push roads and bridges and all the infrastructure. Those aren't permanent jobs. They build a road and they go into the next stretch of road. There are no permanent jobs at all created.
They would last more than a decade. That's how much work we've got to do.
Yeah, when they come back and do it again, right.
Lou, why do we need this oil coming over our aquifer?
Because we're not always going to have the exact same situation we have now, where we have abundant world supply. And I don't know about you, Ed, but I'm with Heidi. I don't want to be dependent on people that hate us for us to have to get our oil from them. I don't want to be forced to get oil from Venezuela, from Russia, from the Middle East. I'd rather be producing it here and getting it from a partner who is a friend of ours like Canada.
Well, it's going to be, the oil would be put on the world market. It would not guarantee our prices going down, and we're drilling more now than we ever have. In fact, we're doing more fracking than we've ever done. In fact, the oil and gas industry has gotten damn near everything they wanted under this president.
Perfect. I love it.
Yes.
Yes. So we don't need this oil. We don't need this toxic oil being brought to market. Prices are what they are right now. It's not going to affect it at all. Let me look at this jobs market. Lou, do you think when you see this job chart that shows that we have added 11 million jobs, this is the grid, 59 months of private sector job growth, do you think the Republicans can take any credit for this economic recovery?
You know, Ed, I don't think there really has been a broad-based economic recovery. Come to where I live in the Inland Empire, there's still way too many stores that are closed that were open 8, 10 years ago. There's still way too many people underemployed and unemployed. We have a record number of people outside the workforce, record number of people on food stamps, record number of people on disability. Everybody keeps talking about this great economic recovery. From where I'm sitting, I don't see it.
You're not in the market?
Yeah,
I mean, if you had gotten into the market in March of 2009, obviously we're adding jobs. We're not losing 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 jobs a month. And this is a historic recovery in terms of numbers. We've never seen this kind of growth before, but then again, we had never had a recession the way we had before. But do you think the Republicans, Lou, have done anything to help this?
The Republicans are doing what they can to curb the worst impulses of one of the most liberal presidents in history, and I will take that as a win.
All right. Lou Desmond, great to have you with us for the first time on MSNBC. Also, Heidi Harris, good to see you again. Great to have the conversation. Appreciate it. Coming up.